Trading is a cutthroat industry, and what you don't know can really hurt you. FTMO offers a tremendous opportunity, but only if you beat them at their own game. If you're not careful to avoid a few common traps, you can easily lose your entire account. The support for my last two FTMO videos has been overwhelming. I've gotten so many messages from traders thanking me. They were about to take a challenge without knowing these loopholes. I've received hundreds of comments, and in this video, I'm going to go over the most common questions. People are frequently asking, can I trade news? What's the deal with drawdown? What about scalping or holding over the weekend? We'll cover all this and more. Let's look at the big picture first. Phase 1 and 2 have a max daily loss of 5% and a total drawdown of 10%. You can basically trade however you want in terms of scalping, holding over the weekend, news trading, and using EAs. Once you pass the challenge, you have the option of a regular or swing funded account. With the regular, you cannot hold over the weekend or trade news. The swing is the same as the challenge except 1 to 30 leverage instead of 1 to 100. Let's break this chart down into more detail. A lot of people don't realize the rules change when you go from challenge to a funded account. When we talk about drawdown, there are two sets of rules, the daily and the total. One of the most common questions I get is how the daily drawdown is calculated. Is it based on balance or equity? It's always 5% of your starting balance. So on the top, it would be 10,500, and on the bottom for a 100K account, it would be 5,000. The starting day balance includes any rolled over profits or losses, and then you also include the open or closed trades from today. He says he has a 400K account, he's up 20%, so he's at $480,000. Apparently the trade pulled back 5% and he lost his account, so he's wondering what's going on. Even if his account is at $480,000, the 5% max daily loss is based on the $400,000, so he can lose up to $20,000 in a day. He started the day at $480,000, so at no point today can he get below $460,000. He says his trade pulled back 5%. He was up $80,000. 5% of this is only $4,000. So his current equity should be at $476,000, which is above $460,000. So there should not be a violation. It sounds like what actually happened is he lost 5% of his entire account. So 5% of $480,000 would be negative $24,000, which would bring his equity down to $456,000. This is below $460,000, so he would be in violation. Which brings us to the next question. What happens if you're in profit but end up violating one of the rules? In that case, you do lose your account, but you're still entitled to your profit. FTMO would not let the trade lose $24,000. The second your account hits $460,000, they would close the account. Your profit is $60,000, your profit split is 80%. So you would request a withdrawal for $48,000. Here's another person basically asking the same question. He has a $100,000 account, which means he can lose up to $5,000 today. He rolled over a trade that was in $20,000 profit. It did drop to $15,000, so he would lose his account. The previous two questions were about when you roll over profit from the previous day. Now let's talk about when you start the day flat. You open a trade today, it goes up into profit, and then it starts to pull back. This is a different situation. Let's say here he has a $100,000 account. He starts the day at $100,000. First trade he opens, it goes up to $8,000 in profit, and then it pulls back. It drops $5,000, and now he's at $3,000 profit. Would he have violated here is what he's asking. And the answer is no. Since he started today with $100,000, he has to keep his account above $95,000 today. He's at 103, so he can lose up to $8,000 more today, and he'll still be okay. This person has a $10,000 account, and he can lose up to $500 in a day. He's already lost $430, and he decides to quit. He's wondering if tomorrow he loses another $70 and he's down a total of $500, would he lose his account? No, the daily drawdown resets every day. He can lose up to $500 every single day. So his starting balance today is $9,570. He can lose up to 500, so as long as he keeps his balance above 9,070, he would be just fine. So that was the daily drawdown. Now let's talk about the total drawdown, which is negative 10% of the starting balance. So this person has a $100,000 account. They're currently up $3,000 in profit, and they're wondering how this affects the buffer. On a brand new account, the starting balance is $100,000. 10% is $10,000. That means they have to keep the balance above $90,000. They have a $10,000 buffer. This $3,000 is added to their equity, so they have a buffer of $13,000 now. Now let's get into the news trading. This person asks, are only the red news off limit, and what about the gray news? What's considered news trading is 2 minutes before a news event all the way up to 2 minutes after a news event. And it's only the red folder news. Gray folders are usually bank holidays, and then the yellow and orange don't really move the market that much. It's considered news trading if you enter or exit a position. It could be a pending order, it could be a market order, it could be a take profit or a stop loss. So both of these people are asking if they can trade news. On the top, he's in phase 1 or 2 of the challenge account. On the bottom, he's already passed. Now he has a swing funded account. Both of these do allow news trading. The only time you're not allowed to trade news is when you have a funded regular account. When you pass phase 1 or 2, FTMO defaults you to a regular funded account. If you trade news even one time, you lose your entire account. Both of these questions show the common misunderstanding about news trading. It's not just when you place the trade. So on the top, he says he placed a trade an hour before news. If he hits the stop loss or take profit during the news, would he be okay? And then on the bottom, he says he placed a trade 10 minutes prior to the news, so it shouldn't be a violation if it gets hit. And both of these are wrong. It's not just when you place the trade, it's when the order is actually executed on the other side. So even if you've been in the trade for an hour before news, if news spikes the price and it hits your stop loss or take profit, you would be in violation. This lady lives in Europe and she's wondering if she's affected by US news. Maybe, maybe not. News is based on the pair, not where you're located. Since we're talking about US news, it would affect all US pairs. So Euro USD, Euro CAD, but if you're trading Euro JBP, that doesn't have the USD in it, so we would not be under those rules. I think I've beat this dead horse enough. It's not that you can't trade news, you just have to have the right account. In phase 1 or 2, it doesn't matter, but if you're on a funded account, you need to make sure you have a swing account. FTMO offers dozens of instruments to trade, and some aren't actually affected by news. He is correct to point this out, and he's asking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not fall under the news restriction. Obviously, if there's big news, it could affect the price of Bitcoin, so you just want to manage your risk accordingly. This person is wondering if they can trade gold during the news, and the answer is yes. Now, what if you trade the Dow Jones, you trade NASDAQ, you trade S&P 500, you trade oil? All of these do fall under the US news. So if you're on a funded account, you have to be on a swing account. If you're on the regular account, close your trade a few minutes before the news. Let's talk a little more about the swing account. So hopefully you're getting the idea that the swing account really is the best account. You can scalp with it, you can trade news, you can hold over the weekend. There was really no downside other than slightly less leverage. This person passed phase 1 and 2, so he's trading from a regular funded account. He saw my last video and he's wondering how he can switch his account to the swing account. All you have to do is email them or go to the link for more information. Let's go over a few miscellaneous questions. When it comes to expert advisors, there are a few things you need to be careful about. This person was profitable for 6 months after passing the challenge. He was making 2 to 3% a month. He didn't violate any of the drawdowns, but all of a sudden, FTMO banned his account. Certain strategies are not allowed. You can't do high frequency trading, you can't martingale, or use any kind of grid trading. One of the more popular EAs is called Waka Waka. In the very next comment, he confirmed he actually was using the Waka Waka, and this is the reason for his ban. One of the benefits of prop firms is you're not having to fund your own personal account. If you fail the challenge, all you lose is your challenge fee. The point of the challenge is to prove you can actually trade. The reward for passing is a funded account, but you don't get credit for the profit from phase 1 and 2. So this person asks, can I start with a $25,000 account, complete the challenge, trade it for a bit, and then open a $200,000 account and stop trading on the $25K account? Max funding is $400,000. Since you pass a $25,000, you don't want to just throw it away. You can actually merge the two into one account. Somebody asked, what happens if I close the month with a negative balance? There's no time limit. As long as you're above that negative 10% max drawdown, you'll be fine. Just take it slow and steady, and you can grind it back up. A lot of people wonder if a stop loss is mandatory. You don't have to have one, but it'd be kind of foolish not to. There's really no issue with holding trades overnight. The issue is holding trades over the weekend if you're on the wrong account. Some people are worried about using more than one computer, but FTMO doesn't really care about what your IP address is. As we've seen, there's a big difference in the rules between the challenge and your regular funded account. Best thing is once you pass, request the swing account. You can still trade news, you can scout, but don't have to worry about all the little loopholes that'll trip you up. There's no time limit, so don't feel in a rush to pass. I'd risk up to 1% a trade. If you lose 3 trades in a row, just quit for the day to avoid the drawdown. If you want to know more about FTMO's rules, click here. And make sure you understand the drawdown, click here. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.